Oh, hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so starting off, for those who don't know, right? Who is September?
September is me. I am a jazz soul artist and an entertainer.
Okay, so are you from here or where exactly are you from?
So I was born in South Georgia in a really little small town. I have been in Atlanta forever. So most people would say I'm from Atlanta.
How did you get started exactly?
With music, hmm. My music actually kind of started from my love for poetry and writing short stories. So I realized early on that I was a writer and I had a really imaginative mind. So I remember writing poetry and kind of reciting it to instrumentals, and that turned into me writing songs.
Interest. So, okay, so hold on a second. So, explain that. How you said you started off saying the poetry to like who exactly? Like explain that for me more
Ooh,
cuz
to who? Wow. Well, I'm the only child.
okay.
So I remember days where I was home alone all the time. And so to who is to no one, to no audience. I was doing it for my own pleasure, for my own passion. It was something that would feed my soul. I also remember as a young child, I would watch Def Jam Poetry. And there would be some poets or artists that would come on stage and they would do their poetry to a track, or they would have like a cellist in the back or a violinist. So when I would write my poetry, I thought that I was one of them and I would turn on like an instrumental. And when you think about it, that's what songs are, poetry to music. So
Exactly.
I just was starting early.
That's very very smart. Like wow. How old were you
Ooh, I
exactly?
think I was about 12.
That's wow,
Yeah.
September. That is awesome though because most people don't think like especially so young
Yeah.
about stuff like that. So that's
Right.
awesome in itself. That's
Yeah.
the wow, that's awesome. So how would you describe your style exactly? So I know it's like jazz,
Mhm.
but is it like an indie jazz or like how would you describe it?
Well, sonically, I would describe myself as extremely soulful. A lot of times when I get with my producers or even when I play with my band, we come up with a lot of jazz riffs, but because my voice is so deep, I consider myself a contralto as far as my voice tone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what brings out the soul in it. So it's a nice little fusion of soul and jazz. And then I think the trick up my sleeve is that a lot of the bridges that I create are raps. So
We
it's a
have
whole
to hear some of
twist.
that, September. We have to hear some
Absolutely.
of that.
I'd
Like,
love to.
for sure, for sure. So, how is it as a black female, okay?
Mm.
Like, being in a space like that because you don't often hear or see black females doing everything you're doing, per
Right.
se.
Hmm. Honestly, I like the lane that I'm in because there aren't a lot of black females doing what I do. It's a little bit more widely accepted now. So there are artists that I've discovered, like Layla Hathaway, like Tank and the Bangers, like Leanne LaHavis, who are black girls and doing it, right? But when I first started, I was in a world by myself, but it's also one of the things that makes me unique because I'm not in a lane where I'm a cookie cutter, you know? So I think it's really cool. I enjoy being one of a kind.
Yeah. And, like, I don't know, your whole, like, vibe and style, it also plays that as well. And so I think it's also how can I say this? Interesting
Hmm.
to see you and like not having you put in a space where, okay, I have to do everything else like everyone else. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Um, because especially as females, everyone's doing the same trend,
Yes.
and so it's awesome to see you like, okay, I know everyone is doing it, so I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right, gonna
so
do
that
something different. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
And like I said, it's one of the things that I enjoy because now that we're in a world, as far as in media, where things are so saturated,
Hmm.
you know, it's hard being an individual. It's hard finding yourself, finding your sound and your image. So when we look at these cookie cutter models of what everybody else is doing, you can get lost.
Hmm.
So I have these days where I'm not doing interviews, I'm not doing a show, and I'm just lounging around in
Hmm.
joggers and a t-shirt.
Hmm.
And if I do that too often, I forget what September looks like, or I forget you know, what my theatrical style is, right? And if I were to go to Instagram or Snapchat or, you know, anything online and I look to see, okay, what's the new trend, I would end up looking like everybody else. So it's really important for me to hone in on individuality and to not be influenced by outside energies because, you know, when I come to a platform like Rolling Out and people see the live video, they see the interview, and they say, she doesn't really remind me of anybody. That's a compliment for me. So, like I said, I love being one of a kind.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome, September. So again, name wise, how did you get that name, September? Like, I have to know that. I have to know that.
Yeah, there. Okay, so I have this theory. Sorry. I have this theory that I feel like on a certain day, I remember this day. I was in high school. It was the day that I found out. Well, of course, since birth, I knew when I was born, and that's in the month of September, right? But it was the day that I found out why I was born, and that's to be September. So I was born in September, and I was born to be September. And I felt like it was an epithet that God gave me. From my legal name, I used to think of different ways to shorten it or to lengthen it or to make it like a play on words. And I said, this isn't working. And I literally remember God saying to me, September. And I'm thinking, the month I was born? That doesn't make sense. And that's what he named me. And I can compare it to so there's this verse in the Bible where Jacob is wrestling with God in the forest, and I believe he puts like a thorn in his side, and they go back and forth. And when God is through with Jacob, he ends up changing his name to Israel. So I feel like when God is taking you through a process, you come out with a different name. So I'm September.
Amen, sister girl. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That speaks a lot. So I can tell um you are spiritual as well, right? So how has that played a part in all of this as well?
Ooh, absolutely. So I started this journey a long time ago. I'd honestly say it's been about 5 years, and I was young and I was new, and I had a lot of people around me doing things for me, and I didn't know who I was. I knew that I was dope. I always know that. But I hadn't had an opportunity to experience life. So, through my journey with spirituality, I've been able to experience life. I've been able to travel. I have experienced heartbreak. I have experienced triumphs, a lot of trials. So throughout that process, how it plays into the entire realm of things is that it helps me write better songs. Like for my upcoming EP, I have this one song called Heavy Water. And Heavy Water came out of an experience of when I traveled to Israel and I was baptized in the Jordan River. And I was with maybe like 25 other young black professionals, and everybody had an incredible experience. And me being the dramatic person that I am, I wanted to go last. So I go down into the water, and the water starts bubbling. So I
Wait.
had a really weird experience with baptism. It was awesome now, and I came out just as pure, but I remember like coming out of the water, walking back like in all white and a white turban, and just thinking like that was incredible because the Jordan River is the same river Jesus was baptized in. And I was thinking, man, it's hard for me to get up these steps. And it was like the water's weight had become heavier. So I named this song Heavy Water because one of my colleagues, when we got back on our little tour bus, I was sharing my experience with this guy, and I said, you know, when I was coming out of the water, something weird happened to me. Did it happen to you too? And he was like, no. And I started to explain it to him, and I said, the water was heavy when I was coming out. And he said this remarkable message to me. He said, you know, don't you know what's in that water? And I was like, no. I'm thinking, I don't know. He says, the iniquities of men. And I'm like, oh my God. So it took me
Wow.
forever to even talk about the experience. 2 years
Wow.
later, I write the song Heavy Water. So that's how my spirituality has played into me being an artist as well, because now I got all this good information to include in these songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And so I think that all of that also speaks on timing and purpose in
Right.
life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I think that that shows you are here for a purpose and
That's
for a
right.
reason.
Yes.
So that's awesome in itself. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad you mentioned timing. So important. So important. I've learned that, you know, it may be your turn, but it may not be your time. Like I said, I've been doing this for a while, and I've had to humble myself to know that when it's my time, everything is going to be laid out for me. It's not going to be hard to travel the road, and you just got to be patient. And I know I feel for other artists because I know, like, for instance, I heard Andra Day say, you know, if people think she's a overnight sensation, and she's like, yeah, a over 10 years of night
Right.
sensation. So I totally get
People
it.
don't
Yeah.
see it. I think it seems like as if people only see the end per se and don't see everything before that,
Mm-hmm.
after that, and all of that as well.
That's true.
So what is the hardest part of being an artist
Mm.
and doing this space?
Right. Hmm. I love to be honest. So I'm going to say that the hardest part about being an artist is that artistic talents and gifts are not only a process, they are, it's almost like a ritual. You know, I hate to compare everything to spirituality, but when certain things hit you and when you have the will and the ability to deliver those things, they should come at a time, at a creative time, right? But when you're in the music business, timing is money. So, as an artist, you have to be able to take your sacred time of creating and delivering and presenting your art and put it to a schedule. That's tough. So, you know, I'm writing the last couple songs of my EP right now, and we like to release everything in September. And I'm thinking, you know, I may need what September's in a couple more months. I may need a whole year to write the rest of these songs, but according to my management and how we're releasing this live album in September, those songs have to be done in a timely fashion. So just being able to combine the creative process with the managerial aspects of time and business and making it work.
Wow, wow. That's definitely
Yeah.
something that I think oftentimes people don't think about as well. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So I think all that is very, very, very important as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah.
It really is. So do you feel that R&B and like jazz and like all of that doesn't play a huge role as it did um, anymore? And then why do you feel that that is?
Okay. So it's incredible how time is moving so quickly. I remember, and I'm just saying this was only about 5 years ago, where I was in a space, and as far as Atlanta goes, I was one of the only chicks doing what I do. Fast forward to now, I'm gonna blame it all on Instagram.
That's that's real though. That's real.
There are people who are able to use their platform in a more efficient way, right? And you can imitate and copy, and you can see other artists and say, "Ooh, I want to do that." Now, when I started, I remember my team, we didn't know where to put me because I can do a little bit of everything. I'm also a thespian, so, I was going from stage plays to concerts, But thank God that now there are more people doing R&B, doing soul, doing jazz. Not only doing it well, and people are appreciating it. So, like I said, once again, love being one of a kind, but being that it's more accepted, widely accepted, it's almost like these people are paving the way for me to be accepted. So, we have even the guys are going back to R&B. Like you have like a great example that would be compared to me, but in a male perspective, would be Luke James. Like Luke James is doing his thing on film. I'm sure he's been in some stage plays, and he has an incredible voice. And his team is accepting that, acknowledging that, and then booking him in every one of the things that he can do. So it actually makes it easier for me. That I am R&B, soul, jazz, and
everything.
Then I can rap a verse for you like Lauryn Hill. What's
Please
good?
do that. Wait a minute, because I need to have you do a little something for the people, September.
Okay, we planned on, I was gonna.
Okay, well, I'll wait.
Should I wait?
Okay, we can wait.
We don't have to wait. I can bust something for you.
Can we get just a little,
Okay,
little?
I can give you something. Should I put on my earring before I do
real
that?
Quick, just
real quick.
Let
me just see where if I can't find it, we'll just. Okay, I can't find it, and time is money. Okay, here we go. Just a little something light,
yeah,
right?
Something light, something very, very light.
Listen. Signs of the apocalypse is spilling from my chocolate lips. And if you got a tight clutch on reality, loosen your grip. Open your ears. Let me fill you with this contralto. Let go your fears. I'm only looking for altos as willing to listen about this second coming and as willing to listen about this Armageddon battle. See, I ain't talking BET ciphers, no paddle. I'm up the creek, you on Tower Eiffel. Imposters, pretenders, depart from me, I know you not. The syntax in that phrase is not the only thing that's hot. Also, the temperature in which I set another level. So run and tell the world, the skeptics and the other devils, that rap is back. You say you heard that hip-hop dead? Rap is back, and for your sins in which he bled. So for the death certificate, let's make that one correction. Rap is back, apocalyptic resurrection.
Drops the mic, September.
Thank you.
You have a serious skill set, like for
so
real, September. That is awesome.
Thank you.
You are so dope. You do everything. Like, what don't you do?
Ooh, the only thing I can't do is play video games. You can beat me in a game of NBA Live, Madden, Call of Duty. That's what you can beat me at. Anything else, I probably got you.
Wow. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm speechless. Like, September, for real, I'm speechless because it's like, you don't get this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see this anymore. So the fact that you still have it means so much. Like, for real.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And trying to hold on to it. Like I said, and the world is so saturated, honoring who you are is what's really going to bring happiness. And that's what I got to do. I cannot not be me. So I really appreciate you acknowledging that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, again, where can they Instagram or Twitter All of that.
Okay, so my Instagram is September underscore. That's SEPTYMBER underscore. You can also check out my website at september.com. Make sure you spell it with a Y. It's kind of like September. Put that Y where the regular E would go, and I'm sure you could dig
Awesome.
it.
Awesome.